Okay, now back to gravity again. I'm going to say that gravity, just to clarify, gravity is magnetism. And the reason it says squared, like E equals mc squared, the squared where you found the squared at was because magnetism is, it goes away from each other, or it pulls things together. And that happens like that. And the reason it's there and that happens like that, and the whole thing with gravity and motion and and the E equals mc square thing, and all of that, and light, and the speed of light, and time, and all of that, all mushed into one is magnetism, because magnetism has four things. It pushes out, it pushes in, and there's two things, right? And one goes in and one goes out, and one goes in and one goes out. But that's four things, you know what I mean? It looks like two, but it's four, okay, for one. Now, but the reason light, the reason he saw light within that mess, or not mess, but that that thing, is because it is kind of light. I mean, we are light, so but it can go back and forth, and it does go back and forth, because when experiences change from one experience to the next experience, magnetism goes, okay, let's say your magnetic field is having an experience, and then it changes to another experience. When it does, the magnetic force goes the other way, and then it goes back to this way. For that split, I won't say second, or whatever, for that, to happen, it does that for that to happen, because when it goes out for that moment, what happens is what takes place is another emotion, and that is what makes that white fluffy thing. But anyways, I'm gonna pass that. We'll talk about that later. But and then it comes back to the next experience. But gravity. The reason that I'll use the word, I'm borrowing the word gravity, is because the release of the magnetic thing is because gravity is, the reason I say it's multidimensional is because gravity is what lies between every energy field. All energy fields have something between them, between every single, or surrounding every energy field is a space. It's not a space, it's just a thing, and I'll call it gravity, okay, just for the sake of needing a word. I'm going to put the word gravity. The word gravity is going between magnetism. Magnetism and gravity are the same word, basically. Now energy fields have gravity or magnetism between them. Everything is an energy field, and magnetism is between all of them, because it has to be. But when they change into something else or different, you might make, like, some things change into other things, you know what I mean? A shirt changes into pants if you make it, like, if you cut it up and make it pants, it changes. If you lose weight, you change. If you break a cup, it changes. If you eat something, it change. Everything changes, you know what I mean? Things change. So when that happens, even your whole life can change in 1 second. In order for things to change, you might want to get rid of your ball. You get rid of the rape scene. You add a lover in your life. You add, things happen. However that happens. But and the more you learn, the more power you have over your life. And so now when that happens, the process of experiences changing from one experience to the next is a very, very complicated process, and the what's between the the reason that dimensions look so crazy and complicated, and I think that those cube things, you know, that they're working on right now, is that, you know, that's I'm pretty actually I'm positive, but I'm not completely positive, but I'm sort of positive, but they're not cubes. They're infinite shapes, and what that is actually everything but life force is in that. That is what everything but things that have life force. Life forces are not what that is. What that is things that have magnetic field, or things that have energy fields, but they are not life force. And I'm pretty sure that they're not magnetic fields. I think that the whole, well, I'm just gonna go with what I was saying. So now, but when that happens, is that what's between them is gravity, and gravity is when a proton, and this is where you people that see the atom as like this, when you view an atom as something with the spinning neutrons, and you count all of those, and you see hydrogen, and you start building those tables with all the periodic table, those of you that see that, okay, this is what you're seeing. You're seeing an experience go from one experience to the next. That's what you're seeing. And that periodic table is that thing that they're developing right now, is that periodic table, that cube thing with the triangle looking cubes. They're making the periodic table, but you think that the periodic table is a bunch of atoms that you need to mark down as having weight and mass and numbers and all that crap, but it's not. That's not really what it is, because you will never be able to do all that. I don't know. That's just not, that's bizarre. But those cubes and the periodic table and experiences and objects and all of that mushed up would be, and gravity being what makes them be individual cubes, because what it is the atoms is what keeps them from imploding and exploding. And there's four other things that's called what there is there is implode, and there's explode, and then there's another thing that makes things big and small. Implode is when things crush in on themselves. Explode is when they go out like this. And then there's another thing that makes that basically it's a deplode, and like a, I saw the word online the other day. It was I forgot what it is, but there's two more things to that. But it's the thing that happens exactly when an experience is preserved and it goes flying off into that white thing. It's what happens when something is goes on to an anti-hate line or an anti-love line. It's when something when someone passes away into their celestial being. It happens when someone is born. It happens when an animal passes away, or an animal is born. It happens when you let's see, what else would cause that? Something like that. But it's something where because nothing, death is, there's no such thing as death. And there's really no such thing as birth, but there's no such thing as death. Birth is a different thing, but there's no such thing as death, because we live eternally. But the difference between life force and non-life force is different. There's difference. And a lamp doesn't have a life force necessarily. Now, but an atom and a proton and a neuron have got to be there. They are the three things that take effect when an energy field is needs to be held together gravitationally, I'll say, for lack of, I borrowed that word for that moment, in order to transposition experiences from one experience to the next. In order for that to happen, it has to gravitationally, the electrons, and everything, so that it doesn't implode, explode, or anything like that happen. You know what I mean? So that's what gravity is. Gravity enables magnetism to basically have a definite gravity defines magnetism's field, magnetic fields. Gravity defines magnetic fields. I said it. Okay, that's what gravity does. That's where gravity's word is. That's where gravity is. Gravity defines magnetic fields. Finally. That took forever for me to say. That's what it does. But because, and the reason, if you're looking for dimensions, that's where they are. They are there. You'll find them there because it is multidimensional. Magnetism is multidimensional, and it belongs with those boxes because it's multidimensional. And in those boxes, what they're going to find eventually with those boxes is everything. And they think they found the theory of everything because they're finding they're seeing everything, because what they're seeing is a million different energy fields. They're seeing millions and millions of energy fields because what they're seeing are lamps, they're seeing cups, they're seeing pens, but they don't know that that's what they're seeing, but that's what they're seeing. But they don't know that's what they're seeing, but that's what they're seeing. And they're not that shape, and they're using math, and they're using time, and they're using gravity as E equals mc squared, and they're not using it as magnetic field line defined, or whatever we just said. They're not using it for that, and they're using time, they're using gravity in the wrong spot. They're using the speed of light, and they can't use that either. And they're using what was the other thing that they can't use? Don't use time. Don't use. There's no such thing as time. There's no such thing as I don't know, but whatever. So, but that's what those boxes. Then I just I knew I was gonna figure out what it was, because I understood the theory. I just didn't understand where it went. But that's where it goes. What it is it's non-life force objects. So what they're gonna find is they're gonna find string theory in there somewhere, and that's what's gonna mess them up real bad, because they're not gonna be able to. That's where they're going to find problems, because string theory is definitely going to be in there. Because string theory is going to make all those boxes are going to move, and they're going to move all on their own, and they're not going to be fixed. You know what I mean? And they're not going to be bonded, because they're going to have motion, because they're all individual objects, and they don't have a life force, so they don't have, they're not going to be, and they're not cosmic objects. They're non-life force objects, but they're going to have, but they're within a life force. They're a life force's experience. They're within a life force's experience, but they have to have string theory in there, because they are entering and exiting, and they're on the line of anti-love and anti-hate. Well, see, love and hate is actually there is a main, his love is actually that love isn't a line on string theory. Love is the core, is the absolute core. Love and hate are the two cores of string theory. String theory has, I mean, that would be something, and that's anti-string theory and string theory. The anti, because string theory is going to split someday. Someday it will split, and it will be anti-string theory, and there will be string theory. Well, there is, but it's not so obvious now, but it will be blatantly obvious someday because it's going to split completely. One of string theories, anti-string theory, will be motionless. Period. It is now absolutely motionless. And the rest of string theory will never stop moving ever. It will always have motion because love is motion. Those of you that are looking for the birth of the universe, love. That's love. Love is the birth of the universe. Love, magnetism, friction, something, love is an attraction or a detract. Attract and detract. That's what it is. Implode, explode, attract, and detract. Those are the four things that magnetism does. Implode, explode, attract, and detract. So anyways, but love, and that's why magnetism is like so amazing, because that is like, wow, that's like part of the, that might be the love, that might be love and hate, actually, because it's basically two, that might be string theory right there, part of it, because it's such a big, that might be the split of when magnetism splits and string theory splits with it, because it has to split. Electricity isn't going to split in two. Basically, what will happen is string theory won't split. There's some of string theory will go, well, electricity, it'll go there and there. I made a mistake. There's where I meant by sometimes things will, I'll make a mistake. That right there. Okay, what will split is magnetism. Einstein will split in two. One will go over here and one will go over there because magnetism will no longer exist. When magnetism ceases to exist, it will no longer exist. It will become simply, it will be two separate, non-existent, but it will still have implode and explode, but it won't have attract and detract anymore. It will simply have attract, and that's it. And there's the triangle. Okay, so it will have attract only, and this will have detract only. So, one, your cosmic being only cosmic self the cosmic self only attract. String theory will be left on one side. Then you will have detract. You will have non-cosmic self. You'll have atomic self only, but it'll be left in that one little white piece that just flies off, and it will be motionless. It will be a non-string theory. There will be no electricity there whatsoever, non-electrical, because you won't have choices, because you don't have a choice, because all you do is hate. So you'll become, you hate everything. So go ahead, hate everything. If you hate everything, then you love nothing. So if you hate everything, then nothing will be there, because why? If you hate everything, then you don't want nothing. You know what I mean? If you hate everything, then you're going to be alone. So all that will be there left is one neuron with one neutral neuron that's motionless. That will be you if you hate anything. Lovely. And what will be on the other side, and it will have detraction. It will be the side of magnetism that detracts. that probably implodes. Probably implosion and detraction goes with you, and then explosion and attraction will probably stay on this side. It will explode and it will attract everything that loves you, and you will become cosmic, or I mean, you're cosmic. You'll become celestial. Go through your black hole and be there, and blah 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 blah, 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 poof. There you are. You're caught. You'll be in your awareness will go through into your black hole, and then you'll have electricity because you'll attract everything that you love will be with you. Your everything that you love will be with you. You'll take with you everything you love out of your experiences that will go with you, that you've had in the past, and all those little white fluffy things will have preserved all of your loved all of the things that you love. Will preserve it, and you will be with you, and in your new found universe, and you will have a universe. Your black hole will explode into your universe, and your life force will be there with you, and you will attract through the string theory, electricity, attract everything you love, and you will then have your consciousness, your thought, your awareness is what will go through that hole, and you will be aware that you are in your universe, and that you have everything that you love, and that you are now attractive. You're attractive, and you have attractiveness, and you have exploded into a universe of your own, and there's a multitude of universes, and your black hole will become your universe, and your electrical, your energy field will burst into a beautiful universe, and you will be able to create anything you like, with everything that you love there for you, and all of the intellect that you have already through the forms, and all of those blocks are, well, you know what else will be in those blocks too is what they're seeing in those blocks is also everything that could, should, or is I might, I want, is might, might is possibilities, all possibilities. They'll see every possibility. They're finding possibility too, possibilities in there. I'm thinking about doing that. I might do that. I was planning on doing that. We're going to go there. Maybe later. The future is in there. It's not. There's no such thing as the future, because there's no such thing as time. But there is such thing as there's such thing as I'll call it is idea. There's such thing as an idea, or there's such thing as a wish, or a dream, or a dream. There's such thing as a dream. There's such thing as a wish. There's such thing as a imagination. Your imagination. They're gonna find the imagination, and your wishes, and your dreams, and everything that you could do, and everything that you have desired in your life, and that you have. You have the potential. They're gonna find your potential, because that's all out there. It's all out there, it's all there, because you have atoms building and creating anything that you wish or desire in your life. But I once wrote a thing just for fun. I was writing, and I wrote the thing that says, for you to build a block is beautiful. But to build a block out of cement or tar or feathers or cotton or spit or dirt, those blocks have already been built. Build a block out of something that has never been built before. A block out of imagination. Build a block that is made of something that's never been made. Build a block out of invisibility. Build whipped water. That's right. See, that's what I invented. Whipped water. Woohoo! Hot stuff. I mean, wouldn't that be neat? It'd be something that you could have, but it'd be whipped. Whipped water. It's like whipped cream. That sounds great. And, you know, anything that you whip, you know, whipped cream. Like, what else is whipped? I don't know. They whip a lot of stuff, don't they? I mean, I know of whipped cream. Don't they whip other stuff? I mean, what else do they whip? I don't know, really. I guess that's the only thing that I know of that they whip, but I sure would like to see what whipped water would be like. I mean, neato. That's great. It wouldn't even, I mean, it would be lighter than water. That would be great, you know, and it wouldn't be something that would lay on the ground and be puddly. So you wouldn't need a towel. It would evaporate just quick, you know, real quick. So you wouldn't have to be mopping all the time and dripping everywhere and just, ugh, you know, and it wouldn't make other stuff stick to you because you're soaking all the time. It would be just something that you could go through and it would be so refreshing, but yet you wouldn't be really wet. You would just be like wet, but like wet in a cool way, a different kind of way. Whipped water. Now that is something that's in those blocks. You know what I mean? Like actual whipped water is in those blocks that they're figuring out. I know it's in there. My whipped water is in there. I can't, you know. And so I know they're going to find that, but that lies in, you know, I mean, I've been trying to describe that because I thought a lot about where that is scientifically and in the atomic and in the existence. And I put it in my mind, but I never put it into really where I could explain it. I tried explaining it one time, but it came out kind of muddled and kind of blah, 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 you know. I talk like that sometimes, and I was sort of stuck with no words to put where I needed words, and I borrow words a lot of times. Like I'll go to Einstein's place or Tesla, or, you know, all Newton and everyone, all of you. I've stolen your words many times, so I just do. Sometimes I'll go online or I'll look online and I'll just type in one of your names and I'll read some of your stuff and I'll just take a word and I'll use that word, just to get a word. So, but, yeah, and so I did that, but I'm going to go, because the polarization is what I want to talk about next, because the speed of light, I have a place for that, and color. Color is fascinating, because color goes with those boxes too, but it's kind of like a polarization thing in a way, but I'm going to talk about those boxes next, because I sort of have, I mean, they're starting to come out, like, in my own, I talk to myself all the time, so I've been talking about those boxes a lot, so I need to talk about it, like, I've been writing stuff down too, so I need to talk about that, like, to where it makes more sense, like, I can almost talk about it to a person, to where they won't say, shut up, Kathy, I don't understand you, you know what I mean, so I think I'm going to talk about that, but, yeah, so think about some whipped water, maybe, nice, right?